you are passionate about something, people can tell. When you are not passionate about something, people can tell even more.
Yeah.
And I was like,
On this episode of the Matthew Byrd Podcast,
that passion, that's what carries you through the difficulties, the unknown, the risk.
The founder and CEO
of PDBM
Consulting.
Jorge Quiroz.
I was really bad at hand drafting. I was walking by one room one day, TV screen with AutoCAD. And I was like, what is that?
What do you see as digital twin?
I'm happy that you asked that question. It was a lot of pen and pencil, putting together workflows that eventually became the BIM Standards Manual of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. I might have been 7 years old, and a poor little kid knocked at my side window and point to the chocolate bar. He doesn't have a mom that can actually buy him a chocolate. So I took the window down, grabbed it, give it to him. 50-something years later,
Still sharing your chocolate?
and that is what I do.
Hey guys, before we listen to the full episode, we wanted to ask, if you're liking this content, would you please subscribe to the channel and like the video? It really helps me and our team grow this podcast and bring in more awesome guests to the channel. Thank you, and back to the episode. Mr. Jorge, welcome to the studio. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Matt, for inviting me. Super happy to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you. It's been great getting to know you this year. We've had the chance to have you involved with us 2 conferences this year.
Yep.
In Orlando and then here in Boise recently.
That is correct.
But what I love about having people that I've met or even have come to speak or be involved at our conference, I love having them on the podcast because, you know, we only get to hear limited information when you meet someone in person at an event. Even when they speak, usually it's about a very specific topic. And what I like doing on the podcast is really digging into a little bit of like the career journey and the story. And of course, we'll talk about technologies and everything that you do now. But maybe before we dig into the past or the history, just for listeners that maybe don't know you yet, give us the short story of what you do now.
Okay, what I do now, we are a BIM implementation company. We provide technology solutions for design consultants, contractors, and owners.
Okay.
We integrate technology. That is pretty much our core.
Yep. That's a great explanation. And we'll dig into what all that means.
You say brief. That is why I can actually go for hours.
No, it was great. We will. We'll do that for sure. So take us back a little bit on the story. So how did you get into the industry and what were some of your early roles?
Oh, boy, this is going to take long.
Yeah.
So my background is architecture. Okay. I study architecture in Peru. I'm originally from Peru. And I will go back to my days at school. I was really bad at hand drafting. Very bad.
Yep.
So I used to hire friends from school to do the stuff for me. Until I actually took a trip to New York. My brother was living in New York. I was at sunny New York, the State University of New York at Binghamton, upstate New York. And I was taking English classes. I was walking by one room one day, and literally, I was walking by, door open. I went by, and I took 2 steps back, and there was a guy, a professor, with a TV screen this big or a monitor this big with AutoCAD in there, a drawing. So I step back and look at him, and he looked at me and he said, "Can I help you?" And I was like, "What is that?" I took 2 years at school, and then I went to New York. So I was like in the middle of school. At that time, I was kind of, architecture might not be for me because of
the drawing
and all that stuff. So the guy looked at me and said, that is AutoCAD. And I was like, Auto what? AutoCAD. You, rather than doing this on drawings in paper by hand, you do it on the computer. So that took me to take a couple of AutoCAD classes at the school. And then eventually, after like a year or so, I decided to go back home, to return home and continue architecture. But I was already hooked to technology. I said, I'm not going to be hand drafting anymore. I'm going to be using AutoCAD.
Okay, I already have a question real quick.
Sure, go ahead.
So if you were in the architecture stuff and that was all hand drafting, but then you saw a CAD class, was the architecture class at that time not talking or teaching about the CAD?
Zero. So I'm heading there.
Cool.
So
Yeah,
I went back.
Okay.
I went back to the School of Architecture back in Peru, and I said, I'm going to do pretty much everything in using AutoCAD, using computers. AutoCAD at the time, Matt, you can actually do 3D by connecting 3D coordinates. So you will need to provide the X, Y, and Z coordinate of a point, the X, Y, and Z of another one, and AutoCAD will draw a line in 3D. It's not like now today. After that, it came the masses in which you draw a polygon and you extrude it. So I was doing a bunch of different classes at school using AutoCAD, now in 3D. There were no class. At the School of Architecture, there were only 2 guys using AutoCAD. In the entire university, 1 additional guy in the School of Engineering, which of course caused me a lot of issues with teachers because they were telling me, you are an artist. You need to use your hand.
Yes.
And I was like, I'm not an artist. I mean, I want to use technology, so I'm more, I can speed things up. So a side note, my friends at school will be spending the entire weekend switching drawings from one scale to another.
Yeah.
I will just print it out in a different scale and go party the entire weekend.
Yeah.
So that is when I started with technology. So back in the day, eventually what happened was I got a job on an engineering company, my last year and a half from school, in which I actually helped the engineering and architectural division to switch from paper to AutoCAD. And eventually I opened a CAD business in Peru, bought a couple of plotters, and we were providing services to engineering companies.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the start.
That's awesome.
AutoCAD 2-point-something, I guess, back in the day.
Nice and early.
Yeah.
So then what happened?
Then what happened?
Which I would assume it sounds like maybe a similar story going from hand drafting to CAD, where then at some point it went from CAD to BIM?
To BIM. Yeah, but I will tell you first, how did I ended up getting here to the States?
Yes, I would love to. Yes.
Okay.
And when?
So, economy was good in Peru. I opened my CAD shop, small business. And unfortunately, our president, back in 2000, decided to resign by fax. Believe it or not, this is a true story. And the economy went from here all the way down, crashing in no time. Going back to my brother. My brother at the time was working in Wall Street. And for years, he was like, you need to give it a shot. You need to come here. You need to do something here. And I was like, no, I have my small CAD shop in Peru, blah, blah. So the economy went down. And I decided to start shooting emails to companies in New York. A bunch of them replied saying, when you are here, let us know. We'll interview you. So eventually I pulled the trigger, jumped on a plane, came to New York, interviewed with a bunch of different people, and got a job. Okay. Side note, again, I told you that this can take a long story. My first interview in New York. Went to this place, got upstairs. There was a table like this. I introduced myself. They say, I'm going to call the architect. It was an architectural firm. So a guy came, and the first question is, so you're an architect? Yes. You're looking for a job? Yes. Do you know how to do CDs? And I was like, sure, I can burn CDs with information, one side, double-sided. Literally, Matt, the guy stood up, turned around, and left. And I was like, is this guy coming back? He was referring to construction documents, not physical CDs.
Ah, yes.
So went way ahead. 5 minutes went by, 10 minutes went by, and I was like, I believe the interview is over, and I left.
Wow.
So it was bad. But eventually, I got a job.
Yep.
I got a job on a furniture company, okay, helping them migrate all their CAD into the new version or latest version. It was okay, but it was not what I love to do. I was doing furniture design, okay, but it was not my stuff. Until I saw, this was in New York, this was 2000. I came here in 2000. I was with this company from 2000 to mid-2002. And I saw a job posting from a technology company, needed somebody to help them with one of their public agencies, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. This company was a technology company providing services to the port. So I went an interview and got a job. And that job was helping the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey adopt technology, move from a 2D world into a 3D world. And I will give you a little bit of a background for the Port Authority. Public agency, they manage airports, tunnels, bridges, the whole infrastructure between New York and New Jersey. Engineering department, 400 people dealing with 300 and change consulting companies, developing 2,000 projects a year. From let's repair this little hole in the George Washington Bridge to let's build a new airport terminal.
Yeah.
So our role in the engineering department was helping them adopt technology. Nothing to do with the drafting or the modeling. It's just training people, supporting people. So I was, and that is where really, going back to your original question, technology got embedded into what we do. And a lot of what I do now, I learned it from the Port Authority, which was what? So all the disciplines that you can imagine, architectural, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, fire protection, electronics, geotechnical, everybody working with different technologies, everything geo-reference. I'm talking back in 2002, 2003. Civil 3D didn't even exist. Revit was just recently bought by Autodesk. We were using architectural desktop at the time. So everybody was doing their own thing. It was a mess. And my role was, you need to make all these guys internally and the design consultants work in harmony.
Easy,
super easy. So I said, all right, I need to start putting together in writing workflows, processes, procedures, how an architect start doing a project with the information that was provided by lasers kind of the time, pretty basic, but the civil 3D people and then the architect and the structural engineer and how you get all the disciplines involved. So it was a lot of trial and error, pen and pencil, putting together workflows that eventually became the BIM standards manual at the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. Always with that owner mentality. The port was going to use these projects in operation and maintenance for the next 50 years. So whatever we do needed to be done in a way in which the owner grabs that info and push it forward after construction. So that is where all these things started, making sure on this manual and support files and everything that you can imagine that has to do with that, that design consultants produce data that can be handed over to the contractors, that can be handed over to the owner to use in operation and maintenance. So that's in a nutshell. Which
is, I guess, why you still do what you do, because that's still a big problem.
I believe so. So yes, because, and you, I believe you know this better than I do, is design consultants and contractors are gonna, if they don't get that direction from the owner, that you need to have somebody that orchestrates the effort. And if don't, they're going to do whatever they know, whatever they want, or whatever is convenient for them. So what we tried to avoid them was, or we wanted to make sure that it's not your interpretation or what you believe is right, is what the owner needs is in writing. You sign a contract, you have to do it. So that,
and so ultimately, what you do now is that angle of working directly with owners to help them define.
So, in a nutshell, yes. So we have worked a lot of what we did at the port. I was there for like 12 years. Actually a little longer. I was 10 years as a consultant. Then I left. I went to Peru, and then I came back like 3.5 years as a PA employee, as a public employee. Going back to your question, a lot of what we did at the port had it to do with airports. So when we started PDBM Consulting, even though that was kind of on our backpack, our expertise was airports. We help design consultants, contractors. It might be a hospital, it might be a school, whatever the case. But a lot of what we do, just because we have done this for years, has to do with airports.
Okay, so now where's the story of when and why you decided to start a company?
Oh,
Also
boy.
an easy decision and journey, right?
Yes. So I was a consultant at the port, went back to Peru. My mom got sick. So we sold everything. We went to Peru. We came back with an offer at the port as a PA employee. So that was the opportunity for us to come back to the US. We came back to the US, and I told my wife, I don't believe I'm going to be here for that long. She's like, what do you mean? I said, it's just my gut feeling, I guess. I'm going to be here 3, 4, 5 years. She's like, all right, whatever. So 2017, I told my wife, I believe it's time for me to fly alone. She's like, what do you mean? I said, I don't feel I am using all my capability at the port, and I need to do this by myself. And she's like, okay. And I was like, that easy? I was kind of afraid. I mean, to your point.
Yeah.
And she's like, sure. And I was like, she didn't work at the time. Okay. So she was like, sure. And I was like, did you actually hear what I said? I'm going to quit and start something on my own. And she's like, yeah, I heard that. And why so easy? I cannot cut your wings. That's what she said. Because then you're going to regret not doing it. And I look at her and said, you just say something that my dad used to say. You always in your life, I believe you have to do stuff so you don't look back and say, what if I did not?
Yeah.
So I said, all right, fine, I'm going to quit. And I quit. And I started PDBM. So
yeah, you hear that very often from, I follow and try to learn from other successful entrepreneurs, business owners. You hear that a lot, is like, that question of you don't want to get to the end of your career and go, what if I tried that thing?
And that is something, to be honest with you, that is something that it scares the hell out of me.
Yeah.
And I will rather do it and fail and learn.
Yeah.
And if I have to go and, I don't know, deliver pizzas or Uber or whatever,
at least you tried.
At least I try.
Yeah.
I can go to bed every single night
Yeah.
and say, all right, I give it a shot.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It's, I think that fear is what holds most people back from trying something that is not the normal.
I'm pretty sure.
Because I often, think there's a lot of people I come across that have never thought about entrepreneurship or starting their own business, and sometimes you find people that you're like, you should be.
Right. I totally agree.
You're very passionate. You're a very hard worker. You want to.
And on my way here, actually, I was thinking about exactly that a lot of people might be good at starting their own businesses, but there's a lot of factors that you need to consider. Of course, if you have kids,
many.
In my case, was risky. I was the only one working.
Yeah.
So that make it more difficult for me to say, all right, something goes wrong. My wife is still making some money. All right.
No.
So
I had the same story. I was, I had a third kid on the way.
Okay.
And I was in the best job I had ever had, but I got so excited about the technologies where, again, similar to what you shared in your story, like I felt like I wasn't using everything that I could. I wanted to help more people. I wanted to try different jobs. I wanted to try it in different industries. Right. And it was like, I have to quit. I'm so excited about what I want to do and what I think I can do.
And I can't
do it somewhere else.
Right.
But there was also the naiveness of like, oh yeah, just do it.
Right.
There was
how?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
How? So, and at that time, I was the BIM director of the Port Authority. I was making good money.
Yeah.
My health insurance was awesome.
Yeah.
So everything was like for me to stay there for the next 20 years, I guess.
Comfortable.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I wasn't feeling comfortable.
Yeah.
So I said, it's time to pull the trigger, I guess.
And I think that's what it takes for people to build something successful. There's a lot of stats of people who go out and do a startup within the first few years close, right? And I think that is usually because of a couple things. One is misaligned expectations.
Right.
A lot of people think that starting your own thing is the dream, right? You're going to make way more money and you're going to retire early and you work 4 hours a day, not 8, I think that many people today because of what, and maybe it's partially from content and social, and you see these influencer, you see all the stories of like, I built $1 billion app, Oh, that's what entrepreneurship
and
is.
I'm 22 years old.
No.
And
Yeah, that's the one, 0.0001%, somebody has that idea that becomes this big lucky thing.
Sure.
Most of the time, starting a business, you're working way harder, you're working way longer, you're taking on a lot of risk. You're dealing with so many more challenges,
and the responsibility of the people that you have
all of
on
it.
your team.
All of it. There's a lot of cons to starting
absolutely.
it. I think that's why most businesses fail or close is really just that expectation misalignment. But the other thing that I think drives a successful business is when you're starting it from similar stories to both of us is you're starting it from you are so passionate about what you do and you love the work you're doing and you want to do it even more and you want to help in a different way that you feel like you can't do wherever it is that you're employed. That passion lets you start something that's what carries you through the difficulties, the unknown, the risk.
So years ago, a client of mine told me this, that it got stuck in my head still. He said, I was selling them my services. So he was like, you are very passionate about this. And I was like, yes, I love what I do. And I was like, why? Well, and he replies, this is the stuff that got stuck in my head. And he replies, when you are passionate about something, people can tell. When you are not passionate about something, people can tell even more.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you might be right.
That's true.
So, but yeah, and going back to what you mentioned about working, everybody on my team knows that from midnight or 10 o'clock at night to 6 o'clock in the morning, cell phones need to be at least in no bother me mode.
Yes.
Because I wake up sometimes at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, my head starts going in circles. I go downstairs and start working, shooting emails and text messages and things to everybody. So in my team, they actually give me a hard time because, Jorge was actually yesterday, he woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So, but that's what happens.
The life of a founder.
Yeah. I mean,
you have to set the boundaries you want.
Right.
And a lot of people ask questions around like work-life balance as a founder or a business owner. And I'm like, there isn't like an answer to that. It's a personal choice, right?
It's a personal choice. And I'm actually learning. So for instance, now my phone actually stays in my office when I finish my day of work. I don't take it to upstairs to the bed. No, I mean, I'm done. Sometimes I work Saturdays, sometimes I work Sundays. I go down and sit down in my desk and start working. But there's weekends in which I say, no work. And I don't read my phone from Friday until Monday. So, but it's the balance that you need to give yourself, I guess.
Yeah, you have to create it for yourself.
Right.
You define those limits. Because I say on the journey, right, there's times that you're doing well. You have the opportunity to say, hey, I'm going to take a few days off, or I'm not going to answer the phone in the evenings.
Right.
And then there's seasons where you're like, I'm in grind mode. I have to put in extra because this big effort or this project. And that's what you get.
That's the way it is. Right. That's the way it is. I agree.
But I also try to, as much as people talk about ownership or entrepreneurship and I think that it's an amazing opportunity for many people. I also, anytime I talk about that, I also try to back it up with it's not for everybody.
That is true.
Because sometimes,
and that is okay though.
Yes, and that's what I want to share is a lot of people hear business owners talk and think like, that's something I should do. I think it is not meant for everybody, and I think that you can have just as successful of a career path,
absolutely,
and a healthier work-life balance.
Totally agree. I mean,
be another leader, be another employee.
Right, and some people is very happy working from 8 to 4, 8 to 5, and then go home.
No more stress after that.
Right. And again, it's perfectly fine. I don't mind either.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. So my story about everybody in my team knows that I do this. It's not that I'm expecting them to answer a message at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
It's just that I have it here and
Yep.
I need to just delegate or share
Yeah.
or whatever. But I respect that. I respect their own time. I don't bother them over the weekends, even though they know that sometimes I do work over the weekends. And the way we're structured is a little bit different, I guess. And I learned this. I don't want to be like looking, like breathing in your bag, looking at what you're doing. So we don't have 8 o'clock to 5 policy.
Yep.
So some people of our team actually works over the weekends because they took their kids to a game on Friday or they needed to go to the doctor on Wednesday. So
Yep.
I believe one of the things that I'm very grateful is the team that we do have actually have that mentality. I mean, nobody needs to check what they're doing. They're very responsible, and I mean, that is part of the success, I guess. I cannot take all the credit.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
What are some things from the early days of starting the company to bringing on some of your first employees? What were some of the things you learned in building a team?
A lot of fear. Bringing the first people. I mean, now I need to pay a salary and they depend on me. What happened if I fail? It's not only me, but it's him and the family and the kids that I know.
Yeah.
We grow very organically. So it's not that we actually decided one day, all right, tomorrow we're going to be hiring 3 people or 5 people or whatever. So in our particular case, and the way we're structured actually allowed us that organic growth.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I see it, at least, is personally minimizing the risk, not only for me, but for the people that is involved with us as well.
Yep.
So that is kind. So, and why I rather do that? So when I had my small CAD shop in Peru, that is part of the story that I miss, and I told you the economy went down from one day to another, I needed to fire a lot of people that I worked with them for the last, 5-6 years.
Yeah.
And I promised myself I will never do that again to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So if I decided eventually to open another business, and I was 20-something years old, I said, I didn't build a business for this.
Yeah.
And if I eventually build a business again, I won't allow that to happen.
Yeah.
So, and I believe that has a lot to do with how we structure,
Totally.
how do we grow,
Yep.
how do we expand, I guess.
Yeah. That's awesome. So a little bit more to current.
Mm-hmm.
You do technology implementation.
Right.
What are some of the more recent types of projects or things that you've worked on or helped with?
So I will say 2. Way much recently, Newark redevelopment program. So I don't know if you're aware, but Newark Airport, old airport, few years ago, they redid Terminal A, brand new terminal. They knocked down the old one and they built a new Terminal A. Now they're in the process of building an air train that will connect the new Terminal A with the future Terminal B, with the future Terminal C, and New Jersey Transit and New York. So we are currently now working on the air train. We are also involved in a project that hopefully is going to start next year, which is the new Terminal B. So they're going to same idea. They're going to knock it down and expand it where the new air train is. So what we're doing there is since I was involved writing the standards at the Port Authority back in the day, that is one of the things that opened the door for these guys to hire us for the terminal, for the air train and the Terminal B. So what our involvement there is making sure all design consultants and contractors do what the agency needs, so the agency can grab that info and use it in operation and maintenance. That is our role. We do have a few of our team involved in there checking or auditing models from all consultants. The challenge on the air train is, and I might get this a little off, I guess, but you will get the idea. The air train is split into 3 different areas: the foundation and the piles and the structure that will hold the train, then everything relating to the rails and the train itself, with companies in Europe working in decimal units, which I'm very familiar with, and our team is very familiar with, and then projects done here in the US in feet and in inches. So it's a mix of stuff.
Yeah.
Our role is make sure everything aligns, because whatever we build, then the terminal B needs to stop right there. So that is our role. So
that's fun.
and it's growing. We started actually at the beginning of this year in March, if I'm not wrong, and we are expanding the team, and I believe next year is going to be a little bit bigger than what we have now. And the other project is Miami Airport. We started there back in 2020. Okay. Funny story. I received a phone call from a guy from Autodesk, a guy that at the time, and I believe I can say this because I can say it in public, Eddie Kriegel. He was the guy in Autodesk in charge of aviation. We were working on a project at Mexico City, I guess, at the airport in Mexico City. We were involved. Anyway, got a phone call. Say, Jorge, do you mind helping these guys at Miami Airport? And I'm helping with what? They need an implementation. Okay, sure. You know what? And this guy, I believe, lives in Denver or something on this side of the country. And he's like, this guy speaks Spanish, you speak Spanish, you Latinos will get to know each other. Give him a call. And I was like, sure, I'll give him a call. So I give Miami Airport a call, and we put together a presentation. And the guy at that time that was leading the effort was like, I met with 5 or 6 different people. Nobody showed me this. I want this for the capital improvement program. At that time, the capital improvement program was a $5.2 billion. Originally, they were thinking about doing this in CAD. So this guy at Miami had the vision and said, we are owners. He used to, in his role, he used to grab all that data from all the projects. So for future projects, somebody will come to him and say, hey, do you have the information of that project? No information. So he envisioned the fact that we're going to be redoing the airport. Why don't we do it in a technology? Okay, he didn't know which technology, but a technology that would allow me to grab that info and use it in operational maintenance. So we started back in 2020 with Miami doing a discovery. We interviewed like 20 different departments and divisions. We put together a plan with short, medium, and long-term goals. We developed a BIM standards manual with everything that you can imagine, contract language, the whole thing. And we've been helping them up until recently, because we kind of switch our roles from the owner side to the other side, to the contractors. So at this point, we are helping contractors adopt what we originally put together for Miami. But I believe the key is the standards that we develop. So that is one of the things that we always use with clients. I mean, I believe the risks of a successful projects on projects of this magnitude is you need to have some sort of documentation or standards. If not, everybody will go their own way. So the standards will help everybody to produce and release consistent information that an owner can actually grab and use after the fact. And I will say a lot of our expertise has to do with standards.
How often do you come across major companies that still have not approached this?
Very often. So I will say what we see now more often, I guess, than before. Before was like, I'm not using BIM. And I'm talking about owners, can be airports, can be any type of owner, that their design consultants and contractors are using BIM. They are delivering either PDFs or CAD drawings. They're not delivering the BIM models. And for the few that are actually getting the BIM models, they don't know what to do with it. So I believe the challenge is that you as an owner, your people is already producing a big model. Why don't, with a little bit of effort, make them produce that BIM that you can use after the fact?
Yep.
We were recently on a meeting with another airport in Florida, and they are receiving models that are actually on hard drives on a shelf.
Yeah.
They're not using that data.
Yep.
And we see that very, very often.
Yeah. Is that, I'm curious for you to unpack a little bit of your thoughts. This is where I see, and of course I'm not going to give a solid definition for it, but digital twin.
Digital twin, yes.
Part of what I see as why digital twin is a focus is that so many industries, it's organically taken that process where used to be drawings, it used to be CAD, it's starting to be 3D, but it also is moving to this idea of not just having a drawing or a model that's relevant to one job, but the idea of, all of the data being accurate, being accessible, being able to be used for multiple uses. What do you see with kind of the progression and what you do working with owners? What do you see as digital twin? And
I'm happy that you asked that question. So that digital twin concept, you need to be very careful when you talk about digital twins, because digital twins can mean different things to different people.
Yep.
Is there only one digital twin? The answer is no. There can be multiple digital twins. So, and I'll throw a couple of examples. So you're in the design process. You're going to be using BIM with all your design consultants, all trades, and that is your digital twin for design. Perfect. You accomplished what you needed, which was coordination and quantity takeoffs. That's it. Maybe something else, but whatever. Then you move into construction. And your digital twin construction, at least the way we see it, is it needs to be a digital twin that includes construction means and methods, okay? I'm going to use the BIM model to reflect whatever, not only what is going to be on the field, but the way I'm going to build it on the field, okay? Meaning, I do have a column from the first floor to the 7th floor, okay? One column only. Sure, you can measure the volume of concrete. Okay, so what about if you split that? This is my example is on a concrete build.
Yep.
You're going to split it into different levels. Sure, is that enough? No, it's not. You need to split every single floor, each column in two. The vertical piece and the horizontal piece, which is the one that you're going to pour concrete when you pour concrete for the beams.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're including means and methods. A slab, you're going to have one slab, or you're going to have that slab in sections because you're going to put it in sections, and you're going to be ordering your trucks with concrete based on those sections. So, and then you get to your digital twin for construction, okay? Which again, it will allow you to do coordination, quantity takeoff, link that model to the construction schedule. So the one that we care is the digital twin for owners in operation and maintenance.
Yep.
So that goes way beyond the quantity takeoffs, the coordination, the linking to the construction schedule or payment requisition, but it goes to let's capture data. That is what we need. Let's capture assets. Let's capture organized attributes. And this is one of the things that we did for Miami was, as you can imagine, a lot of projects, a lot of design consultants, but on the attribute side, I don't want you to be naming an attribute. We're going to install this piece of equipment. So on project A is going to be date install. On project B is going to be installation date. In project C is going to be date dash install. That is where we see standards for owners come in place that regardless of who develop your projects, the data that you're going to be receiving for your digital twin is consistent.
Yep.
So when you decide to plug this model into an asset management system, the information is consistent.
Yep.
And that is another one that has to do for that digital twin for owners. This is what we call a unique asset identifier, okay? I want to be able to uniquely identify one mechanical equipment,
Yep.
okay? It's the only one in the entire campus, a school, hospital, airport, it doesn't really matter. Because by doing that, I can start unlocking a lot of other doors, like, I don't know, Internet of Things. Now I can connect those sensors to this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Only one guy, okay? I can do predictive maintenance with artificial intelligence because I can collect data of what's happening with this guy, my historic data, and then predict what I'm going to do at the end. So my answers are long, I know.
Yeah. That's because they're good. Keep going.
I hope. So that is why going back to the digital twin, the one that we aim at least is the one that you can use for operation and maintenance.
Yeah.
With all this data that you can use forward.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I feel like it's a growing concept that I think many industries are pursuing, trying to develop or build a plan for or understand how to use. And I know that there's some organizations out there that are trying to put definition to it, but I think it's still a little bit of a mess that every company says, we're a digital twin platform. We create digital twins. We scan and give you a digital. It's like, what does that mean? I think that's an area that we still need to work on coming to some agreements on.
Right.
Yeah, of defining. Some people have gone to say things like visual twin if it's only a measured asset. It's not live information.
But again, it goes back to what you as an owner or as a client want.
Yeah.
Because I cannot sell you a Rolls Royce if you're gonna be delivering pizza.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So the concept of digital twin can vary, and again, that is fine. I believe one of the challenges that we have is, even though I'm gonna get a lot of haters, I guess, after this comment, is the software vendors.
Yes.
They said, this is my solution, one solution, that's it, that's all you need. And in reality, at least my experience is that is not always the case.
Yeah.
You need a bunch of
a whole
different
suite
solutions.
of things. Yeah.
Right. And going back to the digital twin, I remember somebody asked me years ago, you need to develop an LOD 500 model to use in operation and maintenance as a digital twin. And we were like, not really. You can actually do it with either a very low LOD model. You can have a box, and as the box has the right information, then this box for me represents, air handling unit. Okay, I have that data that is telling me what this is. You can actually have a digital twin with point clouds, in which to a point you associate the ID or the data that you need, and that is your digital twin. If that serves the purpose for what the client needs, that's okay. But again, to your point, I believe we need better definition of what these different digital twins are, so people actually knows what to ask, I guess.
Yeah, because the process, the vendors, the equipment, the workflows, to get to different types of digital twin is totally different.
Absolutely. And they cost, you need to balance that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Being that I still feel we're pretty early in companies truly building digital twin programs or successfully implementing them, in some of the conversations you've had or the types of industries you're working in, what are some of the biggest pain points that you think some of those owners have that a digital twin could solve? Because I think when we think about implementing a new technology or taking the time and the effort and the cost to build a digital twin, the question always, just like any technology, right, is like, what's the benefit of it? What's the ROI? And so
how much is going to cost me?
Yeah. And so usually you start with like, well, what are some of the biggest pain points that type of process or program could solve? what are some of those biggest pain points you think in some of those types of industries you've been in?
Right off the bat, I remember years ago when we first started using BIM, and the software vendors will tell you, you will be able to reduce money in your projects and time in your projects. This doesn't happen from one day to another. I mean, you need to work on 3, 4, 5, maybe 10 different projects until you actually master the fact that you can actually save time and save money. So I remember years ago when I met with clients saying, this technology is a technology that will allow you to have better predictability in your projects. And as long as you finish within time and within budget, that is a win. There is actually a bunch of different studies that says that projects in the US, or in general, I guess I will talk about this study in particular that mentions US and projects in Europe, projects get delayed between 10 and 12% from the original schedule. That is by default. Mm-hmm. And they ended up costing, I believe, 20% more or something like that.
Yeah.
So just by saying you will be within budget and within time, that is a win. What I believe now, since we have been using this technology for quite some time, now you can save money and save time. So I believe at least those two are the biggest two keys in which an owner or somebody implementing this technology can benefit from. And those are kind of easy to put a number.
Yeah.
Try to put a number on the benefit of collecting asset data, consistent asset data for the next 50 years on your building.
Yeah.
We're not there. I mean, we are not capable today to give you a number of this is going to save you X%.
Yeah.
But you can measure parts of that by saying how long it takes you to collect data. I remember in Miami again, when we were doing the discovery, we met with these people from operation and maintenance. And my first question was like, share with me one typical day of you going to the field. And they were like, we will receive a call, somebody, there's a diffuser leaking water. All right, what do you do next? Well, I go to the site. Okay, what do you do next? Takes me a couple of hours to find out the equipment where that diffuser is connected. All right, 2 hours. Okay, fine. What do you do next? Go back to the shop. I will need to return. So I was like, all right, let's put numbers.
Yep.
Because at your desk, you can actually see where that diffuser is connected. You can take all the stuff that you need and in just one shot, repair that and save yourself 2 hours.
Yep.
Okay? And start putting numbers on that. So that was kind of, back in the day, with Miami at least, the selling point of that is where you need to go. You need to make the other problem that they have, and this is a common problem, I believe, everywhere. They don't have accurate information. Nobody does.
Nobody, ever, anywhere.
Right. And so you ask me the benefits of an owner. There's always the challenges to those benefits, because in order to do that, you need to keep those models up to date, either with laser scan, modeling back again, or updating that model. I believe one of the biggest challenges is keep that information up to date.
Yep.
And that is maybe what is taking the industry a little bit more time in order to adopt it, because that is expensive. It's not cheap.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that is one of the next steps in all of the industries that are trying to adopt accurate scanning and control and geospatial positioning and models, and is when you move from a project base where it's like, we just go scan this one building or this one tank because we need it for one job. They use it and they throw it away.
Right.
But now if you want to actually start saving that and turn that into how you operate, how you maintain.
It's a totally different story.
And it's and most people don't know how to do it. They don't know, like, okay, well, how often should we go remap the job?
Right.
Or how do we integrate it to make our trades do it when they do a renovation of a space? Or what system do we use to manage all the data?
Right.
There's all these questions, but I I see multiple companies across multiple industries are at the phase of asking those questions of, we've done the technology integration, we're using the scanning and the models, we want to go even further and make this a part of
Now
like
what?
how we do it, but they need help.
Right.
And that's honestly one of our goals with our conference, with our podcast, is by unpacking these conversations and the stories and hearing case studies from different industries and sharing that out to everybody, it brings awareness to like the state of the industry, the state of technology adoption, hearing different ways people have found success with it. Right. And so it brings a lot of those unknowns, whether it's the contractors or the owners or anybody, it brings it to everybody. So now that when they move on to their next project or they're thinking about budgets, those ideas might pop in their head of like, I heard that one guy talking about how they successfully did it at an airport. Maybe we should look into
something similar.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
What do you think when it comes to some of the technologies or the ecosystems? What comes to mind for you as some of the biggest pain points in scaling this?
People. I mean, that is a challenge. We found that, and again, this is going to sound horrible, I guess, but you're not buying an iPhone from, I don't know, Verizon or Sprint or whatever. And sometimes that might be that misconception about BIM. Oh, I'll go to the store and buy BIM.
Yeah.
You don't buy BIM. You buy the software, okay? At least the way we think this should be implemented, I guess, it's more than just a piece of software. I heard from one of our guys, actually yesterday, the day before, I believe it was on another airport, that they were told that they can implement BIM in 3 or 4 weeks. And we look at each other and we both laugh because we know that's impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, and if somebody's telling you that, I mean, they're lying, okay? So going back to your question, I believe the fact that, yes, I know BIM and I can implement BIM often is more than I use the software and I can do a clash detection.
Yeah.
So I believe a lot has to do with, as I said, as people, and don't get me wrong. I mean, you need to, for me, there's a big difference from knowing the software in and out and being able to implement that software.
Yeah.
Way beyond the training part.
Yeah.
Is a lot of this has to do with psychology, I guess. How do you implement? I'll give you 2 examples from my old days at the Port Authority. We were pushing this new set of rules to audit projects, okay? And there was this guy in particular in the mechanical group that we actually put together a report. I won't say names, but I went to this guy, hey, Matt, there is a report of your BIM project. Look at me. Guy was there working for the last 20 years, I guess. Jorge, look at me. Say, what? You see this report? Say, yes. He actually broke it and threw it to the garbage. That's what I think about your report. And I was like, fine, okay.
Wow.
When your boss comes back and asks you about that report, you're going to reply to him because that's the one signing your check. So we went and talked to the boss and say, listen, this is for the good of the agency, blah, 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 blah. Next time, totally different approach. So that is one.
Yeah.
Or nobody wants to use BIM, but you grab that PM that is actually willing to do things, okay? And you actually, remember that I said that I was here, went to South America, and then came back. So when I went to South America, we opened an operation not only in Peru, but in Colombia as well. We were working with construction companies in Colombia. Nobody wanted, on this particular company, nobody wanted to use BIM. So we grabbed this guy that loved the technology, the pilot project, he managed the pilot project. Then we grab him and put it in front of the owner of the company and the director and say, explain your project. Because you make this project successful because of you. So the guy got all the credits, got back to his desk, and the 2 or 3 guys sitting right next to him, they were like, how the hell you ended up talking to the owner of the company. Oh, because I use BIM. And those guys didn't want to use BIM.
Yep.
And at that point, they were like, I want to also go and present my project to the directors. So a lot has to do with how you manage people, how you make them successful. But people is the key. I mean, people is the key.
Yeah. I like that last story because I see that as the path to how many companies across the industry are adopting emerging technology, is that usually there's a company of 100 employees and there's like one or two that are these kind of outside the box thinkers, or they're willing to research things, or they're willing to take on a new pilot project and test this technology. And often it's only one or two champions that are willing to drive that could change the entire direction of a company.
And you need to identify those guys.
Yeah.
That is the other challenge.
And that goes back to even the conversation about like entrepreneurship versus if you're just one of those people that is in a firm, one way to just grow your career and to stand out and is to not be one among 10 who say like, we just want to do it how we're doing it. We want to stay quiet. We want to stay normal.
Why bother?
But be against the grain, right? Is try new things, be willing to maybe it won't go well every time, but the ability to try new processes in an effort to improve and be that innovator, I think is what
makes a difference.
Yeah, and it does. It takes you to opportunities, right? Brought into the owners, to present, and everyone else is sitting back because everyone else is working the same level. Right. But you do something different, you do something unique, and it makes you stand out as an employee as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's something you look for as business owners, is like, I want to see employees do something new. I want to see them trial something on their own and bring it and say, like, I found a better way to do this. I want to, those are great employees to have.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What excites you about, where we're headed? We're in the trenches still, I think, of companies going through this transformation of adopting technology. But what excites you about the next couple of years?
The digital twin, like a real digital twin in which you are here at your desk, you have a dashboard, and you can control equipment remotely, do preventive maintenance, know what is going to fail. Stuff that we can do now, actually, but eventually it's going to be more like everybody can do it now, in which, again, going back to that dashboard, or you receive an email from your AI agent saying the pressure in that equipment is within the threshold and you better go and inspect it or change the filter or do this or do the other. So that is what excites me.
Yeah.
Because I believe with AI and the Internet of Things and all those, having your model as your dashboard, that is what excites me.
Yeah, me too.
I believe that is where, and again, it goes to bringing laser scan, all drawings, and you see, having everything based on a model connected to all sorts of databases. Yeah, that is where we're heading, and that is what we want to get more involved, I guess.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about it. I think there's some people hesitant to seeing that vision, but I truly believe that every major building, facility, airport, roadway will have that level of a true digital twin in the future. And then it gets to kind of even some of the maybe futuristic, like sci-fi type movies, right? Where your glasses you wear at that point, right? The AR glasses that are becoming cheaper, faster, your maintenance workers could walk through with smart glasses through one of those facilities or buildings.
Rather than opening a manual, the system will tell you
live information and seeing pressures of equipment that's around you, and even things like.
It's funny that you mentioned it. I was on a convention in Orlando, I believe 2 weeks ago. A convention that has to do with, and I will share the info with you. It's for the military. It's for training the military. Yep. I was invited and I went to the convention, and I was talking to some people there, and a lot of what they're doing now is what you just mentioned. Is this convention was, how do we train the military, and how do we train it in everything, in shooting, in repairing equipment, in jumping from a helicopter. But the repairing equipment part is exactly what you just mentioned. What they're doing now is they have these virtual reality headsets. They go to an aircraft, and it tells you right there, you need to do this, you need to do the other. You need to screw this with this pressure, or it's happening. But it's going to be happening even more, I guess.
Yeah. I even see, a lot of our community and, we're focused on professional industries to do with construction and engineering and maintenance. I also see a world that a lot of this crosses over into normal society, like shopping environments.
Right.
Where, I say all the time, like in retail, I mean, many people today just order something on Amazon. It's at their door the same day or the next day. So I think the amount of people even going to stores is dropping. But when you go to a store, retail environment, you're still lost.
You have that experience.
You have no, but you often are like, I have no idea which direction to head to find the right thing to. That idea that when same idea with the AR glasses for like walking through facilities is walking through stores and being able to just ask like, take me to the XYZ,
kids, whatever. Right.
Product experience, personal advertisement experience.
Right.
Like, I think it's going to get interesting.
It's going to get, absolutely.
Same with something else we haven't really touched on, but I think that we'll see growth in both environments, professional and public places, is robotics.
Right.
I think, and I think part of what we do with data and with mapping and with live locations and will empower the use of robotics in those environments more.
So I'm happy that you mentioned this. I don't know if you have, I work with this guy, David Tamir, engineer that I met him like 4 years ago, I guess, or 5. He was one of the first guys working on a digital twin on the space shuttle program, working here in Florida with the guys in California. And we talk about robots on airports the other day. And his prediction was, once we start with the first airport having robots to take care of stuff, that is going to explode exponentially everywhere.
Yep.
And I believe that is true, because once we do have now cars driving by themselves in some cities.
Yes.
What's going to happen next? You're going to have your robot that serves, do your laundry at home or whatever. Yeah. So robotics is something that is happening already, but it's...
I forget the stat. I wish I remembered it. I just saw a stat that Elon Musk put out about the humanoid robot that they've built, where I'm going to have to find it and I'll put it as a comment, but it was something crazy, like 50% of homes having a humanoid robot by 2030 or something, or 2040. It's
around the corner. Those technologies are actually exponentially growing. And when you implement one, I guess everybody's gonna just say it works. Yeah, let's all do it.
Okay, one question that comes up thinking about AI and robotics and autonomy and things where machines and information are starting to take over doing certain jobs or tasks or making them easier. I recently had multiple people ask, do we think that AI will
take over my job?
Over time, what parts of what we do as an industry with modeling, with BIM, with scanning and all of that, what parts of that can't be replaced by AI?
So I was talking to a friend of mine a couple of weeks ago about this. Well, AI or robotics is going to take our jobs. I believe this happened before, not with robotics, but with machines, with cars, it happened before, and we adjust. We're going to find, we're going to need more programmers. We're going to need more technical people that fix those robots. I believe it's more, we might suffer, yes, but I believe it's more that the industry will start switching gears to that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean,
Yeah.
again, I believe, and this friend of mine actually didn't believe me, but I said, happened before. I mean, happened before with any piece of the computers.
Yep.
For instance, drawings. I mean, I'm an architect, as I said. A friend of mine showed me the other day this picture of an old studio, Frank Lloyd Wright, which I love, this famous architect. Huge studio, hundreds of people with tables doing drawings by hand.
Nobody's doing that anymore.
Nobody's doing that anymore.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
and I believe we're gonna switch towards supporting that, and that is where the industry, or a lot of the industries, are gonna end up switching or moving.
With what you know about, let's narrow into, say, like BIM and the BIM process and the modeling process, and there's intricacies in that, and there's softwares out there that have tried to do
Automate that process. I saw a couple of vendors on the event that we have here a couple of months, and I was on my computer the other day, convert a PDF into a BIM model in just one shot. Sure. I mean, I believe there's a lot of things that you can automate. I still don't trust, let's push one button and convert this point cloud into a BIM model, or this PDF into a BIM model. I believe there's still a lot of manpower behind the fact of, I might need to tweak it, I might need to review it. I'm afraid we're going to get to the point in which push one button and convert one laser scan into a model. Absolutely. I believe we're very close. We're not there yet, but I believe we're close. We might need to find the new BIM, I guess.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I have said that I don't think it will be in the short term that it fully replaces. Like, because there's so many things that need manual processes that at least all the work that's been thus far, it is the AI or the machine learning or the whatever might increase a tool that helps someone do it better. But I feel like it's still going to be a ways away before it fully replaces.
Yeah, but you can do more, and you can lower the price, and then people that were not able to access a laser scan now will be. So, I mean, you're going to still keep people busy, I guess.
Yeah, and the other thing I've said about the technology piece is, like, if we also always are talking about a shortage of labor, then is it really a problem that the technology is going to help us do it easier?
Sure.
Now we can actually do all the work that everyone's struggling to hire
and stop
for.
complaining, I guess. Right.
I think as we start to kind of narrow in on toward the end of the conversation, I want to ask a couple more personal questions about some of your journey. So, I think anybody who's had a career for some time looks back at those earlier days and some of the journey they've had, which is why I also like unpacking some of that story. Part of what we hope with our content is also to inspire other people about this industry, about these technologies, about their journey that maybe they're considering entering this industry. Mm-hmm. What's some of the advice you would give, some lessons learned that you've learned along your path you'd pass on to some early career professionals?
It has to do with what I said about don't look back and regret the fact that you didn't do anything. If there's only one thing I believe I can regret is why I didn't do this earlier. So I believe if you do have the passion, especially if you're young, I guess, just do it. I mean, go and jump and see what happens. I mean, it's not just go and do whatever. I mean, put yourself on your worst case scenario, plan ahead, have a plan B, maybe a plan C or a plan D just in case. But I mean, if really you are passionate about something, don't be afraid and do it. I mean, what is the worst case scenario?
Yep.
It's not, you're going to fail. You're going to learn from that. You're going to end up finding a job and move forward.
Yep.
So as soon as that thing sparks, I guess, put a plan and execute. That will be my advice.
Love it. Okay, and then for you personally, what kind of legacy or what do you want to be remembered for?
Oh boy, that's a tough question. Not the standards, definitely not. I will switch more to the personal side. Everything we do has to do with dealing with people.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do to anybody things that you will hate people doing to you. I do have a 17-year-old son, and I always tell him this. He's in that age, as you can tell, you can imagine. It's very difficult always to make the right decision, even though actually that right decision, it's going to compromise something that you would like to do or you don't want to do. And I always tell him, you need to do the right thing. Don't lie, do your work at school. I mean, do always the right thing. If one thing I learned from my parents was you need to go to bed every single night and be able to close your eyes and sleep without thinking that you did something wrong to anybody. And for me, that is priceless, really. Not the fact that I can sleep at night even though I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
But the fact that you are doing the right thing. And I believe it goes all the way in different levels. It doesn't really matter. Be kind and do the right thing. That is pretty much it.
Yeah. No, I like that. And it's, as much as we love technology, what you said is very true. It's still about people.
It's still about people, and you need to be kind with people. And I would like to finish with this story. As I said, I came from Peru. Peru is a poor country. We were lucky enough. My dad was a doctor, has his own practice. My mom never needed to work. She was always at home for us. And my parents traveled once a year, so money wasn't an issue really for us, thank God. And I remember I might have been 7 years old. And it goes to be kind with people and do the right thing. So I remember going shopping with my mom, and I loved this chocolate bar, typical chocolate bar from Peru. And she bought one for me. So jump on the car, I was sitting right next to her, and a poor little kid from the street knocked at my side window and point to the chocolate bar. My mom turned around and looked at me and she said, "Give him a piece." And I was like, "No, that is my chocolate bar." And the guy, again, knocked at the window. She looked at me again and said, "Now you give him half of the chocolate. The next time he knocks at the window, you're going to give the entire chocolate to him." So I took the window down, grab it, give it to him. She looked at me and said, "She doesn't have the luck that you do have. He doesn't have a mom that can actually buy him a chocolate. You always need to be kind to people." And 50-something years later, still stuck in my head.
Still sharing your chocolate.
And that is what I do. So you need to be kind to people and do the right thing.
That's great. Glad you shared that story. I think it also goes to show the impact that one small situation could have on how you think about things the rest of your life.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you can make the difference to people just by one example. This is small.
Yeah. Yeah. And the intention of why you treat people right or do the right thing should always be just because that's what you want to do. You want to treat people well.
But it comes back.
It does.
Always.
That's what I was going to say is a byproduct of you doing that.
Right.
What do people think of you when they're thinking about, even in a business sense?
Absolutely.
I want to work with that guy. I want to work with that company. They answered their call. The customer service they provide, the way they treat people. That is one way that companies can set themselves apart, because how many of every type of company is there, right? How many BIM companies are there? How many survey companies are there? There's a ton. What can you as an individual or you as a business do to make yourself different? It's how you treat people.
Right.
It's, what are some little things you can do that are different? But the interactions with individuals and actually wanting the best for others, it has to be authentic.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes people
can
think
tell.
that and they try to maybe fake their way to it. And it's like, no, it's, you don't be kind to someone only because you're waiting for them, you're
give
expecting the
something back.
return.
Right, of course.
But when it's genuine, it always, always
back.
comes back.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate you coming in and sharing some of your story.
Thank you so much for the invitation. We love it. So,
No, it's been great. Lots of great stories shared, lots of great insights, and thanks again for your participation, even at our conference, coming and sharing some presentations and material about the industry. And I'm sure it won't be the last time we have you on either.
Looking forward to next time. So thanks again for the invitation. We love it. I love personally being here. So thanks again.
Thank you.